Essentially, the template is two files. There's the asset file with all the goodies like the bedroom layouts, the stairs, the windows, everything like that, all drawn up so it's easy to pick and place into our other file. Our project file is the file that we're going to draw all of our plans in. It's going to give us a really nice clean base to start with. Each of the following chapters, we'll walk through how to make the most of the template. Now, when it comes to navigating the template, it all pretty much starts off with the site plan, the floor plans, the elevations, and a section. These have all been set up in the organizer, which is this area just over here. So it's all ready to be published when you've finished your draft. If you're not familiar with the organizer, or would just like a refresher on how to make the most of it, from the layout book to the view map, all the way to the project map, and the publisher sets, I've actually got a full video that covers it in detail. I'll put a link in the description so you can check it out. Now, we typically start off with the site plan. So if we open this view up just here, we've got these different blobs. We'd typically open up a DWG with the survey. We'd copy this information, and then we'd paste it onto our plans. We'll go center of current view and we'll go paste. Now, after we made sure it was all to scale, we'd roughly line this up with this blob just here, and we'd click outside. So once we've actually got the survey imported, we can take this big blue blob and the text and go delete. So this is just a place marker for our actual survey itself. So if I now go back to our layout and we go to the proposed site plan, now all we need to do is adjust the boundaries of the actual view and update it so that we see all the lines from our survey. And adjust our title marker and bring it just down to the bottom. And just like that, we've got our survey imported into our file. And it's going to be roughly lined up with where our dwelling is going to sit. We can adjust this at any time. So if I go back into my view, let's say the building is going to be further down the back of the site. All I need to do, select the survey, deselect the dwelling, and drag it until it lines up roughly with where we want the dwelling. From here, we just go back to our layout. It's all going to shift across. We can just select this center node and drag our drawing just back across like this, and then update to frame. Again, this is an iterative process, but this is how we typically do it for each project, refining offsets and adjusting the design as we go. Now that we've got the site plan and the floor plan lined up, when we go to our ground floor plan and we say open up our view, once we start drawing in some walls, as soon as we go back to our layout, we'll notice these automatically update to show those walls. Going back to the floor plan, if we go ahead and turn on all of our layers, we'll see that the elevation markers have been set up so that they're all viewing in towards the walls, which have been roughly placed within that blue rectangle. We can adjust these, of course, but this blue blob gives us a visual on where those plans line up with our site plan without having to turn on a trace reference immediately. And once it's served its purpose, we can go ahead and delete. So now back to the layout with our elevations. You'll notice that we've also got a material legend just up in the top corner here. These have been used wherever possible and practical in the drawings. This means less notes having to crowd the page for much cleaner drawings. We can change these at any time. Say we want to match these materials here, which is a detail just here, open source view, and we zoom on in just to here. This is a surface fill, and we can change the fill type. So on this elevation, we've currently got siding light. So back in the legend, just over here, if I select this and go SID, siding light, and go enter, it's going to show that same profile. And the cool thing is, if we go back to our layout, this is automatically going to update. But it's not just on this page. If we go to our other layout, it's also going to update on these pages as well. In fact, it's going to update on any page that we have it shown. So basically, they automatically update without all the extra work. That being said, if you do need extra notes just to clarify the drawing, inside the legends, just here, if we zoom out, we do have an area for typical notes that we can just drag and drop onto our plans, saving having to retype them out every single time. It's really easy to continue to add to this collection, and then we can just grab them whenever we need them. All right, now when we do actually draw a window, and then say give it a label, say W1 in its ID and properties, when we go to the layout and we go into our schedules, it's going to automatically show up in the glazing schedule. If we go back to our floor plans, it's the exact same thing, say with a door. If we type in D1 as our ID and properties, or say D2, it's going to automatically show up in the door schedule as well. Now for a larger example, if we say have 50 doors and we go OK across this wall just here, and then we go into our schedule. Now this schedule is too big to fit on this page, even if we adjust it down. So we've got a couple of different options. Instead of the vertical schedules, which are much easier to read as far as the actual visual on the door or window itself, the 3D icon, if we go to the compact schedule and bring this onto our layout, let's delete our other layout just for the moment. With the compact schedule, we can fit so many more doors onto one page. And even if we have 100 doors, we can then adjust it by clicking on the corner and in the pet palette, adjusting the schedule to suit. So it will readjust so that it automatically updates all those doors and changes the format of the actual schedule itself. So with the schedules, we've got a couple of different options depending on what we need. Now, speaking of automatic parts of the template, in this top left-hand corner here on the site plan, we're going to find the sheet index. This is going to make it so much easier to find out which drawings are on the plan set on the front page of your plans. We can see we've got site plan, floor plan, the elevations, and the section. All of these show up depending on what we've currently got in the drawings in use section over here. So this is in our layout book. We've got all these drawings. Now, if we say wanted to bring our schedules into this drawing set, I can just drag this up into this drawings in use set. And from there, it's going to update in this sheet index. So if we grab these drawings and bring them into the for later use, if we just want, say, the site plan and the floor plan for our first publish, you guessed it, if we say right click and we go update, it's going to just show those drawings. When you go to publish, say your PDF, it's going to automatically update all of these views. So this is all going to update automatically. While we are speaking of automation, in the title block in the bottom left-hand corner just here, we've got a bunch of auto text. So if we go into file, then we go to info, project information. Right here, we've got a couple of different fields. So if I type in ArchiCAD, and go OK, we'll see that the client updates on that bottom left-hand corner. And if we go to any other page, it's going to show up on that page as well. So by filling out this information in one place, we can have it update in a bunch of other places automatically, and we don't have to think about it. There's a bunch of other automatic text on this layer as well, like the date. And if we pan on over to the right-hand side, we'll also see the sheet number as well. So this is going to automatically update as well as we drag and drop drawings in and out of the current set. So if I drag and drop these drawings back into this set just here, and then say double click on the page, it's going to automatically update in that bottom right-hand corner. It's showing as red just at the moment, but if we double click on the actual master layout itself, it's going to show up in its actual colors. And this is where you can fine tweak the template so it suits your work environment as well. So we're talking logos, we're talking email, anything like this. Now onto one of my favorites. Now every single time we draw a wall, like these walls we just drew up before, when we go to our colored floor plan layout, just over here, and we double click, all of this is going to update in the 3D cutaway as well. So if I go back into the floor plan, let's say I go to this lab tool. We're going to put down a timber floor finish just from the bottom left up to the top right here. So we've got it shown here on the 2D, but if we go to the colored floor plan, it's also going to show up in the 3D as well, along with any furniture or 3D items that we put onto the plan. This gives us quick and easy access to a set of plans that are so much easier to read, that most clients can better understand. And the cool thing is we can just right click, open the source view. And from here, if we go to the photo render settings, with the render settings, we can just hit the render button. And in under 30 seconds, we can get a really nice top-down view of our design. Now you don't have to do the render. You can just showcase the 3D colored floor plans as they are. But if you do take the extra step, it can look really nice. Now, if you want to add more levels to your plan, I've got a dedicated video where I go through how to set this up so that you've got cut planes in different areas. I'll put a link to that video in the description. It'll take you through step by step, adding in a new story, as well as stairs, and even how to create a cool rendered isometric, all step by step. With the template, you'll also get this example plan. It's got the typical drawings of a project, from the site plan to a ground floor plan. We've got elevations, a section cutting through the building, and even colored floor plans that we can open up and pan around in the 3D view. It's also got all the elements that you can copy and paste into your project. It's part of the asset file, which you can copy any of the elements across to your project file. Now, from the user interface, the layers, the layer combinations, the pages just over here, and the view map, it's all been kept minimal as possible so we can find the tools we actually need. Most of the time, we just need a few tools to get the job done. The toolbars have been configured to give us as much real estate for the actual design as possible. When I say real estate, I mean this area on the inside here. And when we actually click on something, we can pretty much find all of the attributes down on this left-hand corner without having to scroll up and down or across. When we have this main palette up the top, typically you'll have to scroll across, making it more difficult to find what you actually need. If at any point you'd like to change the work environment to further suit your needs, we can just go up to work environment here, and we can go through and adjust the actual profile here. You can even go back to the original profile to compare the two. I've been making iterations on this, so I've got all the tools I need and nothing that I don't. Speaking of how the plan's been set up, in the view map, it's been set up for a proposed project, but we can also do alterations and additions with the files just down the bottom here. We've got these set up for existing and for modified plans. So if we right click and we go to the view settings, these are going to have the renovation filter for new construction, And likewise for these plans, these are going to be set up for existing construction. So this gives us a structure to be able to work on either kind of project. Shortcuts can save us a bunch of time and help avoid strain from repetitive movements. Instead of contorting your hand to Control R, which involves 2 keys, we can just assign this to 1 key. These just over here are 10 of the shortcuts that I use most. I've got them set to these keys so they're really close to my resting position. I'll have a PDF of this available for print off, or so you can at least keep it nearby. Once you've done the shortcuts a few times, it becomes muscle memory and so much quicker. As I get feedback, we can continue to update this workflow. All future updates will be available for download with a short summary of the changes and modifications. If you have any questions about the template, don't hesitate to ask. I'm here and keen to help.